Hey guys, and welcome back to the Louth Playgo's YouTube channel, and this is the Black Saturday Video Diaries. Hi, I'm Philip Marshall Jr. and I am the director, and I also play Jim Steele in Black Saturday.
Hello, my name is John Hewer and I am the chief producer of the Riverhead Producers who are producing the Black Saturday show.
Today we are answering a bunch of questions about our show.
This should be okay. If we don't know the answer to this, we're really stuck, aren't we? Black Saturday is the term used by the journalists at the time to describe the tragic events of the floods which hit the town of Louth on the 29th of May 1920, and so concurrently it means that we have called our stage show Black Saturday.
Yeah, and the plot of Black Saturday is the plot of that day. It follows different stories from around the town. Mainly the story of Francis Kerman being born and the journalists in the Masons' Arms and the aftermath of the flood. Why this story? I think it's very, very rare that you get a chance to tell a story about your hometown, about a small town like this. A lot of the bigger productions are the very well-known historic stories, like in terms of historical plays. You really focus on the big stories, and a small story like this, you know, can easily get swept under the rug.
Yeah, I think for me personally, because I wasn't necessarily brought up in Louth, not far away, but wasn't brought up in Louth, and I didn't really understand, or I was ignorant to the resonance that this flood still has on people who still live in the town. So they will have relatives, or had relatives who did live through this, and it's still a story which is told. You know, it comes out every year. It kind of has that kind of power to it. So why this story? It just has that local connection, which you know you cannot make up. It either happened or it didn't. There's no point pretending, you know, X, Y, and Z when you have a fantastically good story to tell. And the writing was very good. The script landed, you know, about 2 years ago now. From some new writers, and the script was very, very good. And right away, I thought, if we need to do this. It was like, we need to do this. No one else is going to be able to do this unless we do it. So yeah, that is a fundamental reason why we're doing it.
I think if you are interested in local history, it's a entertaining yet educational night out, and therefore if you are interested in this town and this event, which, you know, people talk about all the time, you know, my parents told me about it, my grandparents told me about it, so if you are interested in to see a different perspective in it, I think you should come see it. Plus it's a night out after quite a very tough year and a half.
Yeah, I think it's another like weird freak accident at the first like fully, you know, open public indoor performance that the theatre and the society and the producers have been able to do has ended up being, and it is an accident, it ended up being this hopefully quite poignant but very, very important show. directly about the Louth. So it feeds in from the community and it's into the theatre, and the theatre's feeding back into the community. And that's kind of how a lot of really good theatre works. So I think that's a very important reason. But I think, you know, even if you're not wholly sold on local history, or it's a different town, or it's a different generation, which was kind of my first approach towards it, I do think you will be taken in by the story which goes on, and you will spot the characteristics in people and that kind of community spirit thing going on, and you will spot, you know, certain town references and that kind of thing, and it just brings your whole like social world of Lincolnshire really quite minute and into quite a tight little pocket, and I think that's very, very interesting to watch. The cast we've got is fantastic. We have got so many people who have not come to do performances. So many people have been open to the idea of having a go with this show, and they are remarkable, and they're putting in so much time and effort into making this a very powerful piece of theatre that I think they do also warrant our support. And it's just very good storytelling. It's very good storytelling, and it just has that extra level about it because you know it's based on truth. So you're there and you're enjoying the story, enjoying the characters, and then every now and then there'll be a moment that jars at you. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a moment that jars at you in the play when you're like, oh, but hang on a minute, you know, I'm enjoying this story and I'm enjoying what's happening, but this actually happened, and it happened outside this house. It happened outside this theatre. It happened, you know, on my way to work, whatever it was.
A lot of people will look at the plot and think, oh, this is going to be miserable and depressing. It's not. There's humour, there's, you know, lightheartedness, there's villains, there's good guys.
Yeah.
You know, there's eccentric people, local people, and it's a cracking show. We've got multimedia usage, we've got an amazing score, and loads of other stuff. So there's loads of reasons why you should come, and it's only a £5, I'm pretty sure.
£5 or £5.50. It's been a very different challenge for me.
It's difficult because
you don't want to get it wrong.
You don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to...
Because people can take a personal umbrage if we get it wrong.
Like, there's so many words and so many businesses that are mentioned, so many people's names that are mentioned. There is so much reality. And we know that this is Louth. You know, their family members are still going to be around. There's still going to be relatives. And at no point do you want to offend. And the fact of the matter is... Misconstrue what actually happened. And I think that's kind of why the main characters that we follow are fictional, in a sense. And that, you know, there's the major, like, strong points. So, like, we have a character called Digby Featherstone who essentially represents the newspapers side of it. And I think, you know, because he is fictional, we are allowed to push the boundaries more with him. Whereas with people like Maggie Winton, who passes away,
everything had to be steeped in research. We have to be
very respectful, and there's kind of been these things of going, where do we draw the artistic license line of where can we push certain things? And you don't get that with normal stuff. You don't get that. There was one scene where we were having a bit of fun with the narrator character, and we were kind of, you know, poking holes, you know, a bit of fun at, like, Americans and stuff. And then there was a speech by the Queen Mother in it, and we just instantly realised you just can't take the mickey out of the Queen Mother, especially considering she's reading this
quite a heartfelt
speech about the people of this town. So therefore we had to take a different approach you would normally take. You know, we can't go full, you know, carry on with certain topics.
It's like trying to do a biography, but of a whole town in like a really short time capsule all of this like 1 day or 2 days that happened. So yeah, it's but that all stemmed from the writers as well. They were very keen and strict that any kind of factual grounding had to be found before actual character names that we knew about from the cenotaph, for example, were going to be used in the play. They were very sure about that. I had to do no checking up, if you like, to make sure on that kind of thing. So we were very fortunate to have the writers whose background was in reporting anyway. They're both they're retired news reporters, so it was very helpful to have those instigating it all right from the off. If they'd come together with a kind of like a smoochy, over dramatized kind of version of this is potentially what could have happened, it would not have probably got very much further, I don't think. So we were lucky that the script itself took care of a lot of that. Took care in both senses of the word, actually. Righty-ho. Humanity. That's my thing. Always try and find the humanity. How is this person reacting in this moment to what's going on? And how is that going to directly affect the way this person is going to act around other people and other surroundings? How is that priority going to be changed? If you look at the script, whenever someone comes into the script, the story, the play, anything like that, they come in with an agenda, and that agenda is very often flipped because some kind of news is broken in the 6 lines that come after they've entered the room. And that's kind of like the structure of the whole story. They think the character knows what they're going to do, and then bang, something happens. It's, obviously in most cases the flood itself. There's also other things which kind of, how the flood plays a part in them. In their daily life. I think that's how it is. So it's finding the humanity, and I think finding the parallels to how we in 2020, 2021 would also react in the same situations, even though we've got the advancements of so many different things over 100 years. The raw human emotions have changed very little. So I think those kind of things we picked up on very well. We've fed them into the script, and then we've fed it into the actors and the directing. So I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's the humanity of it.
On a technical level, obviously, it's hard to tell a story about a flood.
We can't flood the stage.
Can't just flood the
They
stage.
won't let us know. We wouldn't have done anyway.
But we've gone very much down the multimedia route of we're using a lot of the archive photos. We're using an original soundtrack. We're not just ripping music off the internet. It's all being crafted in a way that's going to hopefully portray as close to what we could get on stage. And I do genuinely think that it is going to be an experience, and you are going to feel things. It's not going to be a one-dimensional show. It's going to be full of things that surprise you.
I think there's something to be said that an audience's imagination is infinitely more powerful and creative and suggestive than what we could do with a budget, with a huge budget. I think by telling them there's a flood, by having actors responding to there being a flood, the sound and lighting obviously will help a great deal, but the audience's unique interpretation of what their nightmare image of what the flood is to them is going to be far more individualistic and far more powerful to each person who comes along to see the show. So I think we've been quite clever in not making it, some kind of like disaster play. It's not so much about that. It's more about that humanity thing I mentioned earlier. It's nothing but historic.
Very much so. There are moments that are fictional.
Yeah.
We have, some subplots, like there's an engagement between two characters that didn't exist, and obviously we had to be representative with the journalists because, we didn't have real names of journalists and stuff. So
and they don't necessarily come out of it too well. So we were quite careful not to embroil them in it too much. I think it is historically accurate, obviously. And we're very proud of that. But I think you're right. In order for it to have a lot of emotional impact for the audience, and we needed to delve a bit deeper into some characters more than others. So it was setting up the context, wasn't it? Basically, the first third of the play, roughly, is it's not even artistic license. It's just creating the world of Louth, May the 29th, before the flood hits. Once the flood hits, you know, the archive footage is all there, isn't it? The documentation is all there for the writers and us to pull out from. But it was just making sure that the world we set up at the start of the play kind of had stems from that archive material. And yeah, we just made the characters a bit more 3D, I suppose.
Yeah, also like the moments of drama and stuff, like the dramatic licenses of, you know, the bits where the newspaper, maybe they are quite savage in their approach to storytelling, and then somebody goes and tells them off. Obviously, you don't want to try and make somebody heroic. That was real. You know, you don't want, like, we have a character called Herbert Rawlins who was a shop owner. You don't want him going around, you know, doing the big lectures and stuff if that's not who he was. So you want to kind of keep it true to it. So I think in those moments we've given that to the fictional characters, but everything that happens, all like the newspaper articles and all of that kind of stuff, is historically accurate. And underlining every decision we made was the truth. Oh, and that's all the questions we have.
There we go.
So, yeah.
Hopefully that's convinced you to come and see it.
The show is on the 29th and the 30th of July. Show starts at 7:30 p.m. at the Riverhead Theatre. We hope to see you there. And if you do want to come along, you can book tickets. John?
Yes, you can buy tickets online at www.louthriverheadtheatre.com or in person at the box office, which is open 10 a.m. to 1 p.m, or you can book over the phone, which is 01507 600 350.
We hope to see you there, and until then, see you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe.